because for months the British and Americans had been building artificial ports, which meant they didn't have to immediately capture a real port. The Allies were not put off by this titanic task. These huge concrete caissons called phoenixes would one day be towed to off the Normandy coast, where they would be sunk to form the first breakwaters. As would these floating docks, where tons of material and thousands of men would be unloaded, once moored to the immense steel pontoons, providing access to the beaches, whatever the level of the tide. A gigantic, life-size construction toy devised in the ports of Britain. In Britain, training exercises continued. British and Americans used all available means, even though once again it was all for the cameras. Synchronized swimming and pyrotechnics were the order of the day. Material and equipment were also tested. Anti-mine tanks to clear the beaches, matting to cross sand more easily. Gymkhanas on wavy artificial roads to get used to these new jeeps from America. Not to mention these new Churchill crocodiles, flame-throwing tanks which would reduce to ashes anything that had been missed during bombing raids. The Allies had already lost several hundred men in exercises in Britain, so why choose such an extreme site in deepest Cornwall? Despite the fact that the British 4th Commando Brigade was a battle-hardened unit. Because every type of topographical scenario had to be envisaged. For weeks, often helped by the French resistance, faced with severe repression, the Allies had had access to thousands of photos of the German defenses. Whether protected or not, the entire Channel coast had been studied with a fine-tooth comb. Everything had been spotted and noted. All intel collected and analyzed was integrated into the Allied plan of attack, still, of course, top secret. Except perhaps for the tons of information made available to the Germans, or rather, disinformation. For months, the Allies had been spoon-feeding the enemy with false information to lure them to different landing sites, notably in the Calais region. Over in Britain, the ploy continued with the installation of phony airfields just across from the Calais coastline, where fields of inflatable aeroplanes sprang up. While elsewhere in the south of England, where the majority of troops were assembled, supplies, arms and munitions were kept well camouflaged. By the month of May, it was no longer possible to conceal the enormity of the means being deployed.